So I just got off a phone call, which I work with people on the phone or they come into my office. And I spoke to somebody and I spoke with somebody. Most of the time, this happens with women. It doesn't mean that I don't work with men. I do, but it's typically women. Get into situations with people, with their significant other, who do not treat them well. They're physically, verbally, or emotionally abusive. And it upsets me. Why? Because I have been there. I wrote a book called, here, I'm going to hold it up. You see it? The Soul's Coach, 7 Paths to Healing Your Relationship. And a lot of it's about what I learned, because unfortunately I was one of those people that when I was in a relationship, I often chased people away because I was so insecure. And then if they left, it was like a death to me. So I decided I didn't want to live. Okay. Now, if someone wanted to leave me, I'm with my husband now for 10 years. My first husband I was with for 15 years. But if somebody wanted to leave me, I would look at them like, don't let the door slap you on the ass on the way out. And I probably shouldn't say this on this video, on my website for who knows to see, but I'm going to say it. Because you cannot let other people take away your power. Now, people that I work with typically have had very, very serious, not everybody, so this isn't a requirement, but have had issues in their childhood. There could be, I know of one client whose father came home one day and took a blunt object, I talk about this in my book, and tried to kill her and her sibling and mother by hitting this person on the head with a blunt object to kill them. I'm not going to go into that story. I know people that have had parents molest them over and over and over and over again. Parents who have called them horrible names and tell them, I never wanted you in the first place. I could go on and on and on and on with stories that would shock you. It's taken me days sometimes when I hear these stories to walk it off. And I'm not going to get into what my theory is on these stories. I'll do that in another video. In fact, I write about that kind of in my book. It's in the conclusion, From Grapes to Vinegar. But what I will say is, because people have been through difficult childhoods, the adult becomes what they learned as a child. So what they do is they take on the role as, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving. So they're going to attract the way they feel about themselves, unworthy and deserving. And they're going to be with someone that treats them this way. And then they're going to feel so terrible about themselves that it's like a dog. You kick it long enough, it can't get up. It gets to that point because they start really feeling bad about themselves because the way their partner is treating them reiterates the way they were treated as a child. And then they can't do anything and they feel completely helpless and they give away their power. Game off. Your boundary has been crossed. But when you've been an abused child, or if you have any upset in your life, you don't have a boundary anymore because you never got to learn what those boundaries are. You never learned you were worthy and deserving. You have no idea what anyone's talking about when they say, well, what about your boundaries? Why don't you respect yourself? Why don't you just leave this situation? It's abusive. You can't. You're paralyzed. So people think it's so easy to just leave a bad situation. Well, let's look at your childhood. And I'm going to tell you, I understand why you're paralyzed. It's like if people say, stop being so depressed. Well, only a person that hasn't really been through depression can say, just stop being depressed. So what I do is I help people that are wounded, trapped in relationships or situations they cannot get out of, right? Let's just put a stop here. You think you can't get out of, but it's very real to you that you can't get out of. I'm here to tell you, you can. You just don't know how to do it. I help people that are so wounded that don't think anything's going to work. They're paralyzed, find their way in life. And that is why I wrote this book. And I talk about it in a different video, but it happened during my brain surgery. I'm not going to get into that. And I actually thought I was going to die. So I wrote it because I wanted to leave something behind for my daughter. And I found the missing link. I wanted to write about how to help you, how to help my clients that I'm working with. I wanted to leave something behind. Good news is I'm not dying. But it gets straight to the point of how do you help yourself get out of this situation? And that is what I have dedicated my life to doing, helping those get themselves out of situations that seem impossible to get out of. How do you gain your self-respect back? I don't care what kind of childhood you have lived. I don't care if you've been a stripper, a prostitute, sleeping on the street, or just a person that lived a wealthy life but was abused. I don't care what the situation is. Today is a new day. You're worthy and deserving. You can do anything you want to do. Take back your power, have respect for yourself, and find the happy life that you were meant to have. And that is my work. Do I mostly help women? Yes, because that's typically who seems to be going through this trauma. Do I work with some men? Yes, I do. I do work with men. But traditionally, it's the woman that it just seems like they seem to have more issues than the men. And I'm not stereotyping. I'm not judging by any way. I help a soul that wants to find their way. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me. My website is underneath this video, and talk to me about what's going on with you. But please do not lose hope. I don't care where you've come from. I don't care where you are. You can find peace. And I guarantee it. It is possible. And I can help you do that. I wish you so much